Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are so back with the 2025 Pure Worship Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, every year I do a whole review breakdown of the convention and it's a pretty exciting time. I always look forward to the wackiness that is in the convention. Quickly before we get into the video though, don't forget to drop a like on the video, helps get out to more people on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel. I have a goal. I have a dream, if you will, that this channel can reach 40, maybe even 45,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you could do your part and just click on that little subscribe button, I would very much appreciate it. And I will make sure and do my part and bring you guys regular quality content, if you consider this quality. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. It's the best I can do. Well, I'm always kind of advancing. Anyway, we don't get bogged down with the whole intro bit. I do have a little bit of a different style for editing for this one, so let me know. Comment down below if you guys do like that, or if you just want to go back to how I used to do it before. With all of that being said, let's start the madness.
Please take your seats and listen quietly to the following music video. It begins by highlighting the work of translation teams around the world and then shows many other ways in which we can uphold pure worship.
Now you guys know me and I love myself a little bit of lore, and as soon as I heard this guy talk, I immediately recognized his voice from way back in the day in using the videos that Jehovah's Witnesses provide for the preaching work. They have a very particular guy that does all of the VO work for the ones that you commonly show people if you're going out and knocking on the doors and trying to convert people. And so when I heard his voice, I was like, finally, after all this time, a face to the name.
Today, there is more information available than ever before. But the big questions about life, suffering, and death still remain.
But anyway, after that bit of lore out of the way, we're going to jump right into the music video segment. So everyone needs to sit down, shut up, and really enjoy the spiritual blessing, which will have one of the most hilarious interactions that is common and so typical Jehovah's Witness. If you have been a Jehovah's Witness running microphones, this is immediately going to time warp your mind back to a very awkward situation. What in the burnt bananas Foster have I just witnessed? Sam Smith me. Tell me I'm not the only one that thinks this is absolutely wild. Let's just rewind the clock here and look at this play by play. So this is a common occurrence. You know, someone's in the middle. Of course, it's a sister, so maybe Eager McBeaver over here was excited because he's got a new cologne and he's thinking, hey, maybe I can rizz her up while I'm holding the microphone. She can see how well I hold the pole. I don't know what's going through his head. Anyway, so he gets there first, and the look that this rickety old piece of crap gives him. It's like when someone walks by and my dogs are looking outside and they both start growling, you know, just someone walking like a lady pushing the strollers. Not too fond of that. He looks so angry for absolutely no reason. So then Goofball doesn't have a moment of self-reflection. He clearly thinks he's in the right, so he needs to go and address the issue. So he walks over. I don't know what he's saying to him. I can only imagine. Just, hey, next time, you know, I started walking first, and I know you might be able to walk a little bit faster than me, but it's pretty disrespectful. And the younger guy's just looking at him like, what the hell are you saying? You old fart, you old geezer, kick it into high gear. I'm trying to get this girl's number. You're ruining my chances here, bub. Oh my goodness. But this is so funny because there was always these awkward moments when dealing with the microphones and who got there first and who was going to do it. But anyway, I just found this absolutely hilarious. I think the convention is already off to a really great start.
You know what's not going great for me is my vacation. See, I thought I was going to Australia, but I booked a ticket to Austria. Oh, this is awful. How am I going to get myself out of this? Oh, what's that? Hey, you should subscribe to the JW Thoughts channel, and it'll save your vacation.
Now, for fear of anyone getting too triggered, we're not going to play any more of this music, but I'll put on the old headset and Al Michaels this and give you the play-by-play. So initially you have someone walking in with an invitation, and when Charlie enters the chocolate factory to see what's going on behind the closed doors of Wonka here, she is a little bit confused. People in suits, everyone seems to be smiling. Now, I was a bit interested because there's always an evolution to how they portray a worldly person. So it looks like they're not going to bring back the one strand of hair that has color to it, but now it's going to be the one strand of hair that has braids in it. We'll see if that's a consistent thing throughout this convention. Who knows? I can only guess. And she is also wearing some mom jeans. So if you have a braid in your hair and mom jeans, you are a likely candidate to be a worldly person. Hopefully we'll be able to save your soul, fingers crossed. And then we get some footage from Russia because Watchtower just can't help itself. I find it slightly semi-curious how we hear so much about how there's a ban in Russia and they're always yapping about it and talking about it and making little films about it and showing people. And yet other places around the world, Jehovah's Witnesses are banned, and you almost never hear about that. You never hear them talk about it. It's a bit of a curiosity to me, but anyway, they're just showing some footage with all of that, so nothing too terribly interesting. Now, as we jump right into the Friday morning actual program, this was just a little precursor. We are going to start off with the drama, the Sexy Jesus drama. I haven't seen this yet, but about 50 people have sent me the memes of it. And I gotta be honest, I am like a middle-aged mom going in to see 50 Shades of Grey. I got my cucumber ready and I am ready to see Sexy Jesus. But quickly before we get into that, we do get a surprise appearance from an old friend who I thought maybe wouldn't even be on the governing body this year because we just don't hear from him anymore. But we do get confirmation that Samuel Hurd is still a member of the governing body. He is not actually getting up here on stage, just sitting behind a green screen like a real goober. What kind of moronic idiot with a beard and what kind of black guy would sit in a chair with a beard and behind it? I'm doing the same thing. That was the joke. I couldn't figure out how to construct it in my mind, so I just ended up yammering like an idiot, okay? Point and laugh at me. Not a big deal. Anyway, with all of that being said, let's jump right into the Jesus drama. Now, I'm not going to pick on the cinematic choices that they make, but I'm just going to get it all off my chest here at the beginning so that way we can get fully locked in about the actual story that they're telling. Now, in part one of this Jesus drama, I thought the pacing was brutally slow. And I thought, you know, it was a beta version 1. They're going to work out something. If you ever watched season 1 of The Office and you're like, yeah, they didn't quite have it right yet. And then you make some improvements over time. This is just a continuation of season 1 of The Office, and they make zero improvements ever at any point in time. I'm going to call it now. This is so bad. It's like, how long are you going to watch the guy walk over to the water to get baptized? Like, it's a full minute of him just like, okay, we got to slowly walk him over. It is absolutely brutal. Even the narrator seems like he's kind of bored with some of the things that he's saying. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of people pensively looking off into the camera, into the distance. But yeah, looks like we're starting off with the story of the ripped John the Baptizer here. So we're going to get some more information about him and his life. So let's go through this, starting off with some of his dietary choices.
Now John was clothed with camel's hair and had a leather belt around his waist. His food was locusts and wild honey. Then the people of Jerusalem and all Judea and all the country around the Jordan were going out to him.
Now we have the antagonists of the story that are going to enter the kingdom here, and we're going to see how the camel-wearing, locust-eating, honey-drinking bodybuilder that is John the Baptizer is going to handle these dubious ruffians that are trying to disrupt his very important work of dunking people underwater for about a half of a second.
When he caught sight of many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to the baptism, he said to them,
"You offspring of vipers! Who has warned you to flee from the coming wrath? Therefore produce fruit that befits repentance. Do not presume to say to yourselves, 'We have Abraham as our father.' For I say to you that God is able to raise up children for Abraham from these stones. The axe is already lying at the root of the trees. Every tree, then, that does not produce fine fruit is to be cut down and thrown into the fire."
So if you ever find yourself surrounded by hooligans, you can take this lesson from John the Baptizer. Hit them with some metaphoric horticulture and call them snakes. Bada bing, bada boom, they'll do this. And then they'll be out of your hair. Right after you get done doing that, you can actually give people some of your sage wisdom.
Rabbi,
And the crowds were asking him,
"What then should we do?"
Teacher, what should we do?
What should we do?
Let the man who has 2 garments share with the man who has none. And let the one who has something to eat do the same.
And after giving some sage wisdom to all of the people asking what they should do, he decides to have a little bit of a speech.
I, for my part, baptize you with water. But the one stronger than I am is coming, the lace of whose sandals I am not worthy to untie. He will baptize you with Holy Spirit and with fire. His winnowing shovel is in his hand to clean up his threshing floor completely, and to gather the wheat into his storehouse. But the chaff he will burn up with fire that cannot be put out.
Even the crowd didn't seem to completely understand what the heck this guy was just saying. Something about a spirit, and we'd be burned with fire, and if we didn't want to be burned with fire, then there was some shoelaces, and if you can't hold the shoelaces, you're going to end up like, well, you'll be on the floor and be swept out and in a fire that won't go out. I don't really know, but with all of that, I think it's time for a good old-fashioned montage.
Then Jesus came from Galilee.
And then Jesus finally arrives on the scene, and they're going to have a bit of a discussion about who's going to come on who, or who's going to baptize the other one with water. Something like that. Just watch for yourself.
Tried to prevent him.
I'm the one who needs to be baptized by you. And are you coming to me?
Let it be this time. For in that way it is suitable for us to carry out all that is righteous.
Then he quit preventing him. After being baptized, Jesus immediately came up from the water. And look, the heavens were opened up, and he saw God's Spirit descending like a dove and coming upon him. Look, also, a voice from the heavens said,
"Scatter in the power of self-respect."
Son, the beloved, whom I have approved.
So, Scott Pilgrim gets his expansion pack from the heavens in the form of a dove, and he learns the power of a billion, trillion, bazillion years of knowledge about the universe. And fade to black, a pretty big moment in the course of this drama. But things are really going to heat up. I know that part was a little bit slow, and just trying to work up the momentum, so you get a little bit CGI and stuff happening here. So it does get a lot more exciting here in the next part.
So he continued in the wilderness for 40 days, being tempted by Satan. He was with the wild beasts, but the angels were ministering to him.
When Jesus began his work, he was about 30 years old, being the son, as the opinion was, of Joseph, son of Heli, son of Matthat, son of Levi, son of Melchi, son of Janai, son of Joseph, son of Mattathias.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, there's no way they go through this entire thing. They do. And it takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of doing nothing but saying, son of this guy, son of Bob, son of Sam, son of Zeus, son of my butthole. If I was in the audience listening to this, I would feel so disrespected. You know people are going to be giggling during this. You know if you are there if you attended a convention, comment down below and let me know, because I imagine people are going to be looking around at each other like, they can't be serious. Surely they cannot be serious that they're going to read this whole thing. And when you're actually experiencing it live and in action, it is absolutely painful. Holy moly, they have no idea what they're doing. They are going to have active Jehovah's Witnesses, believing Jehovah's Witnesses, laughing at them. So I said I wasn't going to rant about the quality of this before we completely lost the point, but I think we're at a little spot now where we can lose the plot a little bit. The whole idea of them making these videos, of them spending hundreds of millions of dollars to produce this crap. The concept of it is to make Jehovah's Witnesses feel so special, to make them feel emotionally connected to the organization, to give them characters that they can relate to, see themselves in, trying to give them a media source that is going to ultimately keep them a Jehovah's Witness. And with that large budget that they have set aside for a production of this scale, for them to announce that they're going to be doing this, what was it again, like 17 episodes or some ungodly number, all conventions going forward for the next 5 years, instead of having interesting characters, interesting storylines, things that an actual Jehovah's Witness would be able to relate to. This is what you've given them, and you're off to a rockin' start. Here in episode 2, you're spending 5 minutes and they're already laughing at you. A Jehovah's Witness watching this is not going to be able to have a straight face. They're going to be giggling. Giggling at the amount of money that you wasted. Like, yes, we get it. There's the whole lineage and it's there in the Bible. You don't have to read all of it. This is such a baffling decision that they've decided to make, but one I'm ultimately happy that they did.
Abraham, son of Adam. Son of God.
After he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, he felt hungry.
I don't know why it's so funny to me, but the Son of God with superhuman abilities, able to perform miracles, and yet he's trying to start a fire with 2 rocks. Anyway, he's about to get a little friend to come and visit him, which will be pretty exciting.
And the tempter approached.
If you are Son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread.
It is written, man must live not on bread alone, but on every word that comes from Jehovah's mouth.
Good answer. Good answer.
Then the devil took him along into the holy city, and he stationed him on the battlement of the temple, and said to him,
If you are a son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will give His angels a command concerning you, and they will carry you on their hands, so that you may not strike your foot against a stone.
Again, it is written, You must not put Jehovah your God to the test.
So he brought him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the inhabited earth in an instant of time.
Now, I was a bit curious how they were going to handle this, because this is something that people sometimes point to and ask the question, does the Bible actually talk about the earth being flat? And if you can see all the kingdoms of the earth, you know, maybe the world is flat, and that's maybe what the Bible is saying. And instead of just reading the Bible as it is and how it's written, as they've been doing for all the dialogue trees we've been experiencing, on this one, they decide to take some creative liberties. Now they decide, he just took him somewhere, and in an instant of time, he was able to see all that. They just want to change things whenever it's convenient, and I found that absolutely hilarious, because they don't want to change, I don't know, reading Son of Bob for 5 minutes straight? Unbelievable.
Then the devil said to him,
I will give you all this authority and their glory, because it has been handed over to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. If you, therefore, do an act of worship before me, it will all be yours.
Go away, Satan, for it is written, It is Jehovah your God you must worship, and it is to him alone you must render sacred service.
Then the devil left him.
I'll call a duck, as I like to do. The part with Satan, actually kind of cool. We get the black smoke monster, we get the whispers, he's coming in and out of wherever and are transporting and teleporting all around. And it was good fun. I didn't think it was the worst thing ever. This next section, however, is completely boring. It is just Nick Fury running around and collecting some of the Avengers. So it's just running around, hey, Andrew, hey, Philip, hey, Nathaniel, and he's getting some of his band of merry men all together. But that leads us straight into the marriage feast, where we're going to start seeing some miracles. So let's lock it in.
And on the third day, a marriage feast took place in Cana of Galilee. And the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the marriage feast.
I'll be honest with you, I think whoever put this together was having some fantasies about making their own Jehovah's Witness version of the cantina scene from Star Wars, but who am I really to say? Now this does get a little bit interesting because Jesus has a very peculiar way of talking to his mother.
Woman, why is that of concern to me and to you? My hour has not yet come.
And after being made aware of the situation, they have to get the brigade together to go to the well, fill up the jars, put some water in the jars, and then voila, we turn it into wine.
Now, draw some out and take it to the director of the feast.
So they took it. When the director of the feast tasted the water that had now been turned into wine, not knowing where it came from, although the servants who had drawn out the water knew.
Now, after the first miracle is performed and everyone is all excited and drunk and a little bit confused as to why they couldn't get the good wine to begin with, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's neither here nor there. We have to do a little bit more recruitment, and then we get to jump into our first scene in Jerusalem, where I think Jesus is going to be none too happy with what he finds there.
He found in the temple those selling cattle and sheep and doves.
This is more than enough for a sheep of this quality. No. Why do you ask for more? That is the price. This is all we have. Shade.
And the money brokers in their seats.
More than enough. That's not enough. No, that's not enough. Thank you. Move on. Thank you. Then please. This is the rate. This is what you must pay.
So after making a whip of ropes, he drove all those with the sheep and cattle out of the temple. and he poured out the coins of the money changers. And overturned their tables.
I'll be honest, sexy Jesus here, he's got some aura. Everyone is just backing away from him like, well, hey, this dude means business. We better watch it. You know, we might be a little bit upset, but I don't want to go around messing with this guy. Now, this doesn't make everyone happy as the Pharisees, Sadducees, and some soldiers come over to confront him about this problem, and Jesus is going to give us another fine lesson in how to deal with hoodlums.
Stop making the house of my father a house of commerce!
His disciples recalled that it is written, "The zeal for your house will consume me."
What sign can you show us, since you're doing these things?
Tear down this temple, and in 3 days, I will raise it up.
This temple was built in 46 years. And will you raise it up in 3 days?
But he was talking about the temple of his body.
So after successfully confusing the hooligans by speaking a bunch of gobbledygook, just may as well have just been saying, could have started scatting. It would have made more sense, but apparently the disciples kind of sort of knew what he was talking about, even though later in the story they're kind of confused. It doesn't really matter. Let's not get bogged down with the details, and let's remember the important detail, and that is Jesus was here to aura max, and he absolutely is killing the game right now. People are flocking to him like free t-shirts at a basketball game. They are going hog wild, and that is going to conclude part 1, or episode 2, I suppose, of the Jesus drama. And with that, it's also going to conclude this video. So I think this should be part 1 of the Friday morning. So tomorrow or day next, we will work on part 2, where they're going to have a few videos where they're talking about some of these scenes and how people, modern day Jehovah's Witnesses, are going to be applying them in their everyday life. And there's going to be some real fascinating talks being given. So I'll see you guys tomorrow or day next. Not really sure how I'm going to be doing this, but you know, with the conventions, I try and get them out pretty quickly. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Please comment down below. Let me know if you did enjoy the green screen vibe that we had going on here. I don't know if you like that, or if we should just go back to business as usual and just have the normal background, and I'll just like play stuff in a little box over here on the side. I will be a man of the people and let you guys dictate which one you prefer. So with all of that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to spend more time loving the things you love than hating the things you hate. And you better have a good ass day.